Welcome to another episode of Auto Spec Renew. Today we are in the UK, in the southwest, to visit Jack at Silent Classic and discover his fantastic Nissan 240Z. So let's take it for a spin. All right, Jack, tell us everything about this fantastic beast. We've seen it on the internet, but I wanted to come and visit you and discover everything. So maybe we can put this in the workshop later on and have a look underneath, but give us the basics.
So yeah, this is my 240Z. Obviously, it's fully electric. It's been a almost 3 year project now. Ground up restoration. So yeah, and how many miles? So I think I've only put about 600 miles on the car, so it's still fairly new. And I'm just loving driving it, to be honest. Yeah.
So let's go back. You run Silent Classics in the southwest of the UK, and you do Fiat 500, which is almost the polar opposite of this. Yeah. So how did you end up doing a Nissan 240Z?
Basically, a good friend of mine had two cars, and I saw it, and I was like, that is a beautiful car. I really fell in love with it. So I bought it off him. This was a long time ago. I hadn't really planned to make it electric straight away, but so I restored the car, and I thought, you know what, I have to make this thing electric. So yeah, we do lots of different one-off bespoke builds. So we do Bentleys, we do Range Rovers, we do high-end sports cars.
Let's go through the system. You use a kind of unusual solution, which I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else, either as a do-it-yourselfer or as a business. So tell us why you choose the Lexus drivetrain.
Yeah. So at the start of the build, I spent so many hours trying to figure out what motor to go for. Everyone at the time were using Hyper 9s, and I knew it wasn't enough power, and I thought I almost thought about going dual Hyper 9.
Yes.
I don't agree with dual Hyper 9. I think it's dumb. I think they're heavy, like two of those are pretty heavy, and the performance you get out of them, really, compared to the GS motor, is like nothing.
Okay.
I really like the idea of OEM as well. You just get that quality. Like, obviously Netgain are a great company, but they don't have the funding that Toyota do, basically, or Nissan, or whoever. So it was obviously a lot harder to get it to work. It wasn't a plug and play system, so there was lots of stuff we had to do in order to get it. There's an amazing community called the Open Inverter Forum, which was amazingly, couldn't have done it without them.
So before we delve more into the system itself, do you really want to repurpose as many components as possible, or it just happened to be a good solution for this car?
I think well, so we already have used this drivetrain, and we've used it in a few cars now. We put it in a Bentley S2, and it was just a match made in heaven. Like, the torque, it's silent, it's smooth, it's got the gear reduction built in, which is a lot of, when you've got a rear wheel drive application, that's what you need that gear reduction. And it's all built in, it's all there. And so for us, I will definitely carry on using this system.
Okay, so let's go through, first of all, give us some figures about the power output and the torque. Yeah. And also, why you choose this system, what are the benefits and maybe the cons of this system?
So the system is, the advantage of the Lexus system is the inverter is rated to a max voltage of 700 volts. So the capacitors inside that's their rating. Therefore, you can basically use it from 200, late 200s all the way up to 700 volts. Yeah. So you can run this. The Bentley, we ran it at 360 volts. It was fine, plenty of performance. But in this application, I thought, let's take advantage of this. Let's run it at 600 nominal.
Yeah.
which really helps with, well, efficiency and the cable. I didn't have to use 70mm cable, 50mm cable everywhere. And also, when you're doing higher speed, this thing just keeps. It's like a missile. Whatever speed you're doing, the torque doesn't drop off. It's always there. It's always, when you need it. Yeah.
So you could almost have gone for 12 modules instead of 10.
Yes. Yeah. So this has got 160S pack. They're LG Chem modules. Yeah. So it's a very high voltage pack.
But 600 volt was like the sweet spot.
Yeah, we just thought, you know what, this is, at the end of the day, this is an experiment car.
Yeah.
This is our R&D platform to really test new technology. I didn't want to just put a motor in off the shelf because, I want, when we challenge ourselves with technology, we always learn something at the other end.
Okay.
And then that's the whole point in the business. You try something new, it pays off. Sometimes it might not pay off, but most of the time it does. So yeah.
Well, that's quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's legal speed limit.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the drivetrain. So
Yeah.
typically on the SUV, this drivetrain offers two motors. And
Yes.
they're connected, but they don't work for the same purpose.
No. So one motor is designed for traction
Yeah.
to the rear diff, and the other motor is a generator and a starter motor. So when you're braking or you're off the throttle, it charges a hybrid battery pack.
Okay.
And when you're coming to a city and it's quiet, the engine will turn off, and the motor will be used as a starter motor because the engine's going on and off all the time. If you use a conventional starter motor, it will probably just wear out after a while.
Okay.
But that motor itself has a very, very large diameter, so it's of extremely high torque. So when you couple that motor with the standard motor, you get an obscene amount of power. So and also coming back to the drivetrain, it's not only twin motor, it's also 2-speed.
Yes.
So we've got ourselves a high and a low gear. So right now it's in high gear, which is great. If you floor it from stationary, it basically just about spins the wheels.
Okay.
But it's amazing traction because 0 to 60 is about 3.6 seconds. But if you put it in low gear, that's the drift mode, which you can see down here.
So do you have a traction control on the second gear or the first gear?
No,
you just
no.
full on, full send.
Full on,
Let's put
obviously.
some rubber.
I'm just such a good driver. It might be something we'll probably look into in the future. I wouldn't let probably anyone
use the drift
use drift mode unless they were, they could drive. But I'm not an amazing. I realised when I drove a car like this, I'm actually not as good as I thought I was at driving.
Yeah.
Because it's super fast.
You're pushing all the limits.
Yeah, totally. And I've always thought of myself as a good driver, but I get behind this and I'm like, I'm scared. It's too fast.
I think that's the good car when it scares you still.
But it does handle really well. So in terms of the suspension and steering, it's got BC coilovers all around. It's uprated anti-roll bars. It's really planted.
What about brakes and steering?
So we designed our own electric. Well, we actually retrofitted a Corsa power steering under here. You can't see it, but so we've got electric power steering. And we have, in terms of brakes, we've got a Tesla brake booster.
Nice.
Which gives this pedal a very light feel. You barely have to touch it and it stops on the dime. We've got Willwood brakes on the back and 4-pot Toyota brakes on the front.
Okay. So you kind of tried to keep it all Japanese, or as much Japanese as you could, besides the Corsa steering wheel. Or steering column. So what were the main stages? As you said, you had to fully restore the car, which must have taken about a year, I imagine.
Give or take. On and off. On and off. I put it on I made a spit for it, so the body shell could spin round. I put new floors in the body, and then everything on this car is basically my work because it's not our customers' cars. There's no money coming in. It's not paying for any of the overheads. So this was me. This is just my kind of project in the evenings and weekends, balancing in between all the other cars we had on the go.
So if you were to build another one, say for a customer, would it take about a year, 18 months?
Probably about a year. I think we've got one coming in actually. I think we should be able to do it in a year.
Yeah. And you would use the same solution as far as the drivetrain and modules?
Yeah. We probably use different modules actually, but the drivetrain we would probably keep. The modules they're a bit old. They're a bit on the not old, but they're modules are always getting better.
Yeah, the technology every 6 months there's a completely new option.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
How do you cool those modules?
So because coming back to the high voltage, because it's such high voltage, we're pulling less amps.
Yeah.
So these are actually air cooled.
That's it?
Yeah. They don't need water cooling. I haven't seen them get,
But you
remote
do have
launch.
CCS on the
We
car.
do, yeah. We've got a current Jerome on the
yeah.
CCS. But yeah, that's another advantage of high voltage, basically.
So if you were to do it again, you would opt for the same complete solution?
Yeah,
besides the module.
Yeah, I'd
configuration?
probably go for a slightly different module configuration. I'd probably go for we're really liking the ID4 modules at the moment.
Yes, and you can get them brand new.
Get those brand new, pretty much. So those are great. Yeah.
So what's the total kilowatt hour for the battery pack?
36.
Okay, yeah.
So it's quite a small pack.
Yeah.
But it's small for a reason. It's small because it's still a lightweight car.
Yeah.
It's only 60 kilograms heavier than the original, so like a very light passenger.
Yeah.
So it's light, it's nimble. You know, everyone always says, "Oh, electric conversions, they're really heavy. All the batteries." It's like most of the conversions we do are a tiny bit heavier, but like fractionally. Sometimes they're under the original weight. So
Well, and especially with CCS, the smaller the battery, the better.
Yeah.
Well, not the better, but it is reasonable.
definitely,
Yeah.
it's no point in lugging all this weight around.
Yeah.
You know, definitely makes sense. Yeah.
So what's the next step for this car then?
More and more testing, more and more refining. I'm always tweaking. I've actually made a grille this weekend. We can show it. I've removed the grille and I've put a solid panel in there.
Nice. Yeah.
Just because I just wanted people to think, oh, how's that
That's
engine
weird.
cooling? What's going on there? And it would make people.
Yeah.
And it also looks quite cool.
Yeah. Was power steering necessary, or it was just because you want to daily drive this?
Funnily enough, the initial design on this car was to have all the batteries in the front.
Yeah.
And I built the whole battery pack, designed it all, and made it, and it fitted, and it was basically done. And then I went on holiday, and then I was like, "Oh God, I made it too heavy on the front. I made it too heavy. I'm gonna." And I had this revelation, and I'd done months of work into this battery pack,
Just to redesign it.
and then and I came up with it. I was like, I can't believe I have to do this. So I split it up 50-50. So that's why I went for the power steering in the first place, because I thought definitely going to need it. I've got quite a bit more than the engine, but now but I think it's good. I've got a potentiometer under here. Actually, I need to mount it properly, that I can adjust the sensitivity.
Okay.
So
But you kept the very wide steering wheel.
Yes.
It just looked right.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you have an iPad in the center console.
We do, yeah.
So
this bit doesn't look that nice. It always looks a bit, I don't know, the heater controls just doesn't really. I think this actually works so well.
Right.
So aesthetics are a big part, and also it's obviously linked into the stereo. So I've got subwoofers behind both seats, so it's got a really good sound system. And I'm a big music buff, so I love sound quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell us how you solved the heating solution.
So the heating was, we removed the original heater matrix in the heater box, but because it was 600 volts, we couldn't buy a pre-made heater PTC.
Okay.
So we had to get a one-off, just the PTC made, but we had to make our own frame around it, which was quite a lot of work actually. That's the problem with going high voltage, is components are a bit harder to source sometimes, and more expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the interior is fantastic. Is it something you also did in-house? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it we did, but there's a company down the road from us called HC Classics, who are quite literally like a 5-minute drive away. Those guys did a great job on all of the carpet and the door cards. But yeah, so that they helped us out with that. Trimming is one thing what we don't really want to get involved with.
Yeah.
I've thought about it, but it's just another one of those skills that are just really probably quite hard to learn.
And doing the conversion and bringing the new technology is where you bring value.
Yeah.
There's no point of you getting a team to do the interior or spray the car. Speaking of which, did you do any panel work, and did you respray the car yourself?
So I actually did all of the paint prep myself. So all of the welding, all of the filler work, all of the primer. So I lost months and months sanding this car down, relentlessly sanding and sanding. Because before I started EV conversions, I was I had a restoration shop basically with my old man, and I did loads of restoration work. So I know how to paint cars, and I know how to fabricate. So that's kind of how I got into this really. So, but I'm quite glad I don't do that work as much anymore, because it's so repetitive.
Yeah.
Like paint work is tough work, and it's really relentless. And so I did paint the car, but then just before Goodwood last year, I had it resprayed because it had scratches all over it from being inside the workshop, basically. Yeah.
So what's the color?
It's I can't say that. No, I can. I shouldn't. Yeah, I'll tell everyone anyway. It's a Fiat 500, modern Fiat 500 colour.
Nice. Yeah.
Because Fiat 500, the new Fiat 500s, they obviously had to try and blend new with old, because when they brought the car out, they were like, okay, this is a new car with a classic feel. So actually, if you look at Fiat 500s, modern ones, their colour ranges are really nice. They've got some really nice colours. So this is from one of those. Yeah.
Did you consider doing, say, a blacked out hood or side decals or anything?
Yeah, I did think about that. Yeah. There's loads of different avenues. Yeah. The thing is, when you do a build like this, there's so many different avenues you can go around.
Yeah. Did you dyno this, or did you time it already? Your 0 to 60?
So, the 0 to 60, this speedo here's got it built in, which is a really handy feature. And the dyno, no, we haven't put it on the dyno yet. So we don't actually know how much power this produces at 600 volts. So it's one of those jobs that we need to do, but we're so busy at the moment with customer cars that we're just, it's hard to find the time.
So as we've mentioned earlier, your specialty is the Fiat 500 and 126.
Yeah.
However, you also do one-offs.
We do one-offs. Well, we don't really do the 126 anymore.
Okay.
That was just what got me into this.
Yes.
That's not really our market.
Okay.
Our kit actually doesn't. It would fit a 126, but it would require some modifications and some more R&D to get it to bolt in. And we're not really invested in the 126 as much.
So what type of one-off could you do? Would you do anything?
Yeah, basically. But our team, we have the ability to do, we can convert cars, but we can also, I've got some really skilled guys who are really good at the bespoke aspect of things. So, we can design and make stuff look really beautiful.
Because I know last time I visited you about a year ago, you did a Daimler, which was like a 1920s car.
Yeah. So we do loads. We do lots of vintage stuff.
Do you think it's part of the market that's growing, doing early century conversion?
I think it's definitely, I mean, obviously they're probably even more unreliable the older the cars are.
Yeah. So I know you've been going through different differential solutions in the back.
Oh, don't mention the differential. Don't bring it up. Spent too long wasting. We're right now. There's an R180 LSD in there out of a Super Impreza.
Okay.
It's great. It works really well. If I were to do it again, I would have put the R200 in. Simply because the way the R200 is mounted is so much better. So the way the R100 is mounted, the nose of the diff is it's just not a particularly good design. So if I were to do another 240, I would go with the R200 diff. But this one's still going strong, and it does the job. But under heavy load, you can hear the nose of the diff slightly clonking as it rises, which really bugs me. Something with electric cars, every noise it's like I would go R200, but it's still it does a great job. So
how do you choose which, for instance, the differential? How do you figure out you'll need one from a Subaru or from something else? You just give it a try? Or?
Yeah, well, the Subaru diff is exactly the same as the 240Z. The casing is bolted.
Okay, wow.
So I didn't, but the mounts for the 240Z is just rubbish. So we had to redesign our own front mount, and then we've got a Techno Toy rear moustache bar, which has helped a bit.
Okay. And you have some fantastic wheels. I think they're 15-inch.
15-inch, rotor RKRs.
Yeah.
They're kind of a Watanabe copy. But yeah, I think they look great. I almost went 16s, but I would have made it a bit too leery, I think. It was quite a big. I think the 15s give it that classic.
Yeah, keeps it classic.
Keeps it classic, but you know.
And what about the tires?
I'm not sure what I've got on it. I know they're. Well, on the rear, I definitely didn't put Pirellis on it because I knew I would just wear them out very quickly. So I've gone for medium budget tyres.
Okay.
I don't know on the sizes off the top of my head.
All right. And you were saying earlier off camera, it's relatively easy to find all the parts you need for the 240Z.
Yeah.
It's not the cheapest.
Not the cheapest
type of parts, but yeah.
Everything's available. The rear lights in this car, for instance, I think they were like £500 just for a rear light.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's $600.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of money. But yeah, everything seems to be available, but mostly from the States.
Did you have to replace any of the panel when you redid the car?
Yeah, the floor pans I made, and quite a lot of the repair panels we just made. I don't think I bought, but you can buy most of them. Yeah.
So you've been using this drivetrain solution on several cars, and you reckon makes it very reliable. So if you hand the keys to your customer, you know they're not going to call you the next day with stuff to fiddle with.
Totally, yeah. So the way we're running this, controlling the inverter, is the same way that the Lexus did it basically. So as far as the inverter is concerned, it still thinks it's in the Lexus. It's just sending torque commands to the motor. So we're not removing any logic boards. We're not, we don't have the ability to really fine tune the map. But to be honest, Toyota has obviously spent God knows how many millions on on that technology. So it's smooth. It's so smooth. Yeah. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the drop-in board solutions you get they're great, but they are sometimes the map is never quite as good, in my opinion, as the factory maps. We do this,
or it would take many hours.
Yeah,
to
exactly. And they're pretty good. I mean, they're amazing considering, but yeah, they're not quite as good. Yeah.
So how easy is it to source those Lexus systems? Do you import them from America? Do you find them in Europe or in the UK or Japan maybe?
So they're from salvage vehicles.
Yes.
In fact, actually, my modern daily is a Lexus GS450.
Okay.
And I bought it from Copart to take the hybrid system out of it. But I still got it because it was actually nothing wrong with it. It had a hybrid fault that I managed to clear within like 10 minutes.
Wow.
So I kept it, but they're very easy to find actually. So that's how we do it.
Is the best option for you to buy a complete car?
In terms of labour, it's quite labour intensive. Like removing one of those engines, that's a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy job just removing the engine. So the more volume we do, we'll probably end up just buying them. Like the last one we actually just bought from a breaker. But what's nice about when you buy the car, you're in control. We like to recreate OEM wiring as much as we can, whether it's the encoder wires or any of the wiring. It's so useful stripping the car because we always look how the OEM guys have done it. Yeah. And you can extend a cable by half a meter and solder wires in, and then you start getting issues with noise and so it's really pays to have that information of how those guys have done it. Yeah. And it saves you a lot of time in the long run. So
how many conversions have you done, including the Fiat and then the one-offs?
Gosh. So I think we're on about 15 Fiats now.
Yeah.
And gosh, off the top of my head, I think maybe 30 cars, something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
God, I'd have to probably sit down and write it down. But
okay. Yeah. Quite a few.
Quite a few. Yeah. We've got quite a few cars out there now, and that's really the test. When you've got cars out there, that's the test. That's like I'm very impressed with electric classic cars. Like I think he was saying he had 70 cars. On
80.
80, yeah. Which is a hell of a testament, actually. because it's not that easy. That's why what everyone says, you know, there's a lot of bespoke engineering that goes into these builds, and there's a lot of failure points. Basically, you know, there's lots of parts which can, you know, not done correctly. So quality control is a really difficult thing in the industry.
All right, so if you guys like what Jack is doing on the 240Z and you would like to see more of his builds in America, reach out to him on his website, silonclassic.co.uk.
Yep.
Speaking of which, how much, not necessarily how much this car costs, but somebody that would reach out to you to convert a 240Z or a custom build in general, what type of budget are we talking about?
I mean, yeah, any bespoke conversion is going to be 50k upwards, really.
So about 60 to 65,000 US dollars.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, but a lot of our clients, we end up doing way more. We end up offering stuff. Have you thought about, you know, if adding? Do you want us to, you know, redesign this or that, or, you know, we always end up doing more work because it's always worth it in the end to go the extra mile to make it, you know. Yeah, perfection is quite obviously incredibly hard, but like that's what we try and strive for. The quality to us and the appearance. So when you open the bonnet, and you know, to me that's so important. All the cables run really neatly, everything done to a super high standard is why I do it, because otherwise I probably would not enjoy my job. So yeah, and it takes time, these things.